math lesson for this terrific Tuesday. We are ready to keep growing our brains in math. So let's quickly warm up with our addition. We've been working so hard with subtraction, but we can't forget about addition. So let's practice two problems, but solve them two different ways. So first up, we have 53 plus 5. 53 plus 5. Can you solve this already in your head? What would this answer be? How are we going to solve this problem? We're going to add numbers in the same place. So, what would this be? 3 plus 5 is 8. So 53 plus 5 is 58. Exactly, because we added numbers in the same place, and then our tens place just had the 5. So we used place value knowledge to solve this problem. So let's look at another addition problem, but solve it a different way. What about this one? This is 53 plus 9. 53 plus 9. If we take a look at the ones place, 3 plus 9. Is that more or less than 10? 3 plus 9. That's going to be more than 10. So what strategy do we want to use to solve this problem? We want to solve by turning this equation into a 10 plus fact, because we are all super awesome at solving those 10 plus facts. But today I'm going to challenge you. Can you work through the steps in your head without writing them all down? Can you work through this problem? Can you make a 10 plus fact in your head? Let's try. So 53. What's 53's next 10? It's 60. So how did I make 53 a 60? I used 7 from the 9. So then what am I going to add to this 60? I took 7, I added it to 53, and I got 60. So then what am I going to add? I'm going to add what's left over from the 9. So we already took that 7 out. What am I going to add that's left over? It's a 2. So 60 plus 2 is 62. And that is our answer to 53 plus 9. We are going to be working our way up to do these equations without writing them down. That you can just know to take 7 from the 9 to make 60 and add what's left over, which is the 2, and your answer is 62. It's going to take a lot of practice, but I know we can get there. Okay, Super Scholars, let's look at our learning target for this Tuesday. It says, I can solve a subtraction equation bigger than 20 with the take from 10 strategy. So today we are still working on our subtraction skills, and we're still doing our take from 10 strategy, which all of us are so great at. But yesterday we were practicing with just teen numbers from 11 to 19. Today we're going up and we're going bigger than 20. So we are going to focus on subtracting from numbers today that have 2 digits, values both in the tens place and the ones place. So this is slightly different from the past problems we've been practicing. So we want to make sure we know how to do these ones as well. So first off, to show us this next kind of subtraction problem, I'm going to bring up our 10 frames so we can see exactly how this number is going to break apart. So let's take a look. Okay, to start us off on solving those bigger than 20 subtraction problems, we are going to work with 22 minus 9. In 22, there's value both in the tens and the ones place, so we want to make sure we're also doing awesome at this kind of problem. As you can see on the 10 frame, I have 10, 20, 2. We're showing our 22 like this so we can really see our take from 10 strategy. So up here we have 22. And we are going to solve this equation by taking from the 10. So remember, we don't always want to take this 9 from the whole 22. We want to make it simpler from ourselves and take from a 10 instead. So I'm going to use a 10 within the 22 to create a simpler equation for myself, which is 10 minus 9. That's an equation we can all solve. So let's take a look. I'm going to take the 9 from a 10 within the 22. So I'm taking my 9 from this 10. Here we go. I'm going to take 9. Okay. From this 10 that I just worked with, I took 9 away. And how much was left over? We know that there is 1 left over in this 10 I just took from. So we now know that this 1 is going to be part of our answer that we add together. But what is left in this 22? We took out 10, and what is left in the 22? Do you see what's left? If I covered this, what's left? 10. There is 12 left over. We went from 2 10s to 1 10 because we took out one of them. We're still going to have the same amount of 1s. The ones over here, the blue ones, they didn't change. They stayed the same. But now we only have 1 10 and 2 1s, so we have 12 left over. So with our 12, and then the 1 from when we took from a 10, we're going to add those together to get our answer. So you can see it on the board as well. But what is 12? 12 plus 1. What is 12 plus 1? We know that. That is 13. 12 plus 1 is 13. And the other tricky thing about solving these bigger problems is this last step of adding what is left over. We're going to have to bring in our place value knowledge. That's our knowledge of adding numbers that are in the same place. So for example, 2 plus 1 is 3, and this 110 will just continue over. So 12 plus 1 equals 13. Not all of our equations will just be adding 1, so we need to make sure we're ready to bring in our place value knowledge when we want to solve what's left to get our final answer. Okay, Super Scholars, so we just were able to take a look at how we were taking from a 10 within this equation to solve with this strategy. Now, if you haven't already, you're going to have your whiteboard out, just your whiteboard out, and we're going to practice working through the steps together. That means, as I ask a question, you write or you write along with me. Okay, here we go. Okay, here's our next problem we are going to solve all together. It is 23 minus 8. 23 minus 8. What is our first step in order to solve? What is the strategy we want to use? We want to take this 8 from a 10 instead of this 23. So how can we do that? We're going to take out a 10 from the 23 in order to take from that 10. So what's that simpler equation we made for ourselves? Can you write it out? And 10 minus 8 is, it's 2 because we know our pairs to 10 knowledge. So there is our solution from taking from a 10. And now we want to do what? We want to add to this 2 what is left over from the 23? So if we took out 110 from 23, what will be left over? We had 2 10s and we took 1 away. So what would be left? There would be 1 10 and there'd be the same amount of 1s. We didn't touch them. So there would be 13 left in our 23. And now what do we want to do? We're going to add the 2 parts that are left over. So can you write out what that equation would be? 13 plus 2. And here is where we want to double check and pause. This is where we need to bring in our place value knowledge. 13 plus 2. We want to add the numbers in the same place. In this case, the ones place. So 3 plus 2 is? That's 5. And this 1 is just going to stay where it is. So what's our answer? 15, which is also 23 minus 8. That is 15 as well. These problems get a little more tricky because we have to use an extra skill to solve the equation. Plus, even for me, these problems are a little trickier to solve quickly in my head. So we want to make sure we work super carefully and always check our work. Okay, awesome people, are you ready for another one? So let's reset. But before we keep growing those subtraction brains, let's give ourselves a little break. So go ahead and stand up out of your seat. I want you to get up on your feet because I'm going to ask you a question. Do you prefer hamburgers? If so, you're going to stomp like an elephant. Or do you prefer hot dogs? If so, you're going to hop like a bunny. If you're at a barbecue and you have a choice, will you choose a hamburger or a hot dog? What are you going to pick? I am going to go with a hot dog, so I'm going to hop like a bunny for 5 seconds. Are you ready? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I did little tiny bunny hops. Okay, let's take a deep breath in as we go ahead and sit back down and get out our whiteboards and our pens because there's another problem waiting for us. This one says 34 minus 8. 34 minus 8. Ooh, okay. How are we going to solve this problem? What do we want to do? We want to take this 8 from a 10. So, we'll take the 8 from the 10. That was in 34. And when we do that, the answer is 2. When we took this 8 from a 10, that was in 34, we got 2 as our answer. And now, what are we going to add to this 2 to solve our problem? We're going to add to the 2 what is left over from the 34, which would be 10 less. Since we already took out a 10, we had 3 10s, we already used 1. So what would be left over? 2 10s and 4 1s, which would be 24. Because we didn't do anything with those 1s yet, all we did was take out a 10. So now how do we get our answer? We have to add what is left over, which is the 2 and the 24. Can you write out that equation to add them together? 24 plus 2. Pause. Make sure you're using your place value knowledge to solve. You want to add the numbers that are in the same place. So for our final answer, we're going to get our ones place by adding 4 and 2. 4 plus 2 is And this 2 is going to just come with it. So our answer is 26. Therefore, 34 minus 8 is, it's 26 as well, because we just proved these two equations are the same thing. Awesome work continuing to build those subtraction skills. Let's try one more together to make sure we really have the steps down and are able to solve with our place value knowledge at the end. Okay, here we go. Reset. And this equation has been waiting for us. It would like us to solve 82 minus 7. 82 minus 7. How do I want to solve this? I want to take the 7 from a 10, and I'm going to take it from a 10 that's within 82, because there's a lot of 10s. And when I take this 7 from a 10, what is my answer going to be? What's it going to be? Can you say it before you write it out? Equals 3. We know that from our pairs to 10 knowledge. So we took our 7 from a 10, but what's left over in this problem? What haven't we used? What's left in the 82? So I took out a 10, I had 8, but I took 1 away. How many 10s would be left? There'd be 7 10s and 2 1s, because we didn't touch those. So what's left over? 72. So I started to make it simpler for myself, but what's my answer? How do I solve my answer? You need to add what is left over. Ooh, that kind of looks like a bigger problem. Let's make sure we write it out so we can really see what we're doing. Can you write out 72 plus 3? Let's see. Okay, we want to really make sure this is correct. So what kind of knowledge are we using to solve? Our place value knowledge, which means we're going to add numbers that are in the same place. And in these problems, that's the ones place. So 72 plus 3 is, look, we're only going to add numbers in the same place. 2 plus 3 is 5, so this answer is 75, because this 7, we didn't do anything with it. So then, can you answer the big question? 82 minus 7 is, it is 75. A big answer. So we can be working with problems all the way up to these numbers. So that's why it's so important that we're taking it slow and really taking our time to break it down correctly so these problems become simpler for ourselves. Okay, second grade, I am so happy we got to grow our subtraction skills together. So up next, you are going to take on 2 problems to solve on your own. These are both bigger subtraction problems that require bringing in your place value knowledge. So let's see what your challenge is today. It is 85 minus 8 and 61 minus 5. These are the 2 problems that have been waiting for you to solve them with the take from 10 strategy. I want to see all of us in our videos explaining why you are doing these steps. Why are you taking out a 10? What's the purpose? So you are going to now take the time to solve these 2 problems. And don't forget, at the end, don't rush it when you're adding what is left over. Make sure you're using your place value knowledge and only adding numbers that are in the same place. Pause and double check. Don't rush. We want to make sure we're practicing all this correctly because that's how we are going to continue improving. Okay, second grade, let's go work on the last level of our subtraction strategy, and I can't wait to see what you got.